So we're probably live now, I would say.
Anna, could I suggest you send a WhatsApp message and say that we're
Too
starting
late,
out?
we're already live. I can't do anything now.
Okay.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hi, sorry, forgot to unmute my phone. Welcome everyone to the annual general meeting of Carbery Housing Association for 2020. We're actually looking, this is the report for the financial year 2018 to 2019, because the meeting actually covers the previous years. This AGM should have been held in March of this year, but was postponed due to the pandemic. And we were planning to have it face to face, but with the latest lockdown or semi-lockdown, we decided that it would be best to have it online. So here we are. Now we hope that we'll have a fairly good attendance tonight. The chair, David Simmons, will be joining us in just 1 minute. I would add, for those of you that don't know me, I'm the secretary of Carbery Housing Association, and will be basically supporting the board in its work over the coming years. I have done in the past. Now we still don't have any sign of the chair is having some difficulty joining, so we've got somebody else there joining. No, now at this meeting we have invited executive committee members, current board and executive committee members. We've also invited observers through our Facebook page, so some of you might be new to Carbery Housing Association, and if so, welcome. Basically, we believe in open government, if you like, and so we welcome any attendance by persons that are interested in our work, persons who might want to join in future, or who simply have an interest in social housing. Now, we've got somebody else joining just then. I don't know if David Simmons has joined yet. I don't think so. There he is. Okay. So the chair of the association, David Simmons, has just joined. So he'll be able to open the meeting and take you through the report. Just to add a few points, if you want to ask any questions at any stage, please enter them into the chat facility on your screen, and they will be dealt with as soon as the section that you're looking at is over. To repeat, if you have any questions on the presentations, please enter the question into your chat box, and which is on your screen, and we will deal with it as soon as that particular section is over. At the end, we'll have the election, and we'll open the microphones and have the opportunity for persons to contribute from the floor. In the meantime, I would ask anybody who is not speaking to please mute your microphone, but anybody who is speaking, please unmute your microphone and your camera so people can see you. Okay, without further ado, I'll hand over to our chair, David Simmons, so that we can start the meeting. David?
Okay, hi everybody. Welcome. You're warmly invited to this year's CHA AGM, which will be held by Zoom. The agenda will be as follows. Minutes of AGM, July the 10th, 2019, on Drive. Matters arising and approval. Okay.
Fine. Now Anna will now put up the presentation. Anna? There you are.
Okay, Chairman's Report 2018-2019, CHA CHA, all right, okay. COVID-19. Like the rest of society, CHA has been impacted by COVID-19. Some tenants have lost work, becoming dependent on state support. We have reduced rents in several instances. Funding from rents and possible fundraising has also been lost. Our development program has been delayed with possible loss of loan funding due to missing deadlines. We have been unable to carry out surveys and repairs. Our visits to new tenants and face-to-face meetings of the executive committee and meetings with external associates and contractors have also been curtailed. As a result, we have transferred all our organizational communications to Zoom, email and phone. We have postponed our AGM twice, but have decided to go ahead with an online event as we are pressed on a number of fronts and don't know when face-to-face meetings will be possible again.
Go on, Dave.
We'll need the next page, whatever it is.
Yeah, we're on it.
Okay.
Is the membership secretary here, or?
Is Alan Wiseman present?
Oh, the membership. Okay, membership report. Okay.
Yeah.
No, Alan isn't present. So yeah, if you could just go ahead,
Could you
Dave.
continue with it then, Dave, please?
Thanks.
Okay. Right. Currently, anyone with an interest in social housing, including tenants and prospective tenants and employees, may become members of CHA. Fees are €10 per annum for unemployed and €15 per annum for employed or self-employed. Companies may affiliate for a fee of €50 per annum. In 2018, the board determined that payment of the yearly affiliation fee is a requirement of membership. Membership at the end of the financial year stood at 13. CHA is actively campaigning via social media and online events for new members and has held 2 introductory events online to date. In the past 6 months, we have had 3 EC membership approvals, extending membership of the association and the EC and recruiting new directors with relevant skills is a priority for CHA. Executive committee and directors. Am I speaking about this one as well?
Yes, go ahead, Dave.
Any members may stand for executive committee at the AGM or may be co-opted onto the EC during the year. EC members that attended 3 consecutive meetings and are approved by a majority of the board may become directors. At the end of the financial year, CHA had 10 EC members and 8 directors. CHA has 1 subcommittee, the Risk Assessment Subcommittee, RASC, responsible for risk assessment for the board. It met once in 2019. The officers of CHA during this financial years were David Simmons, Chair, Jose Espina, Secretary, Katrina Courtney, Treasurer, Alan Wiseman, Membership Secretary, and Alan Sheeran, Chair of the RASC.
Next.
Governance. CHA is regulated by the Housing Agency, having signed up to the Voluntary Regulation Code for approved housing bodies. During this financial year, CHA presented an annual report to the Housing Agency and attended phone interviews. The Housing Agency regulation team produced a report for the year for which CHA considered the association to be performing in a satisfactory manner, but made a number of recommendations, some of which are still being implemented. In particular, CHA commissioned the produce management accounts and 5-year financial projections, as well as developing a risk register. Staffing. During this financial year, the board appointed Anna Espina to the role of Operations Manager, BT, of CHA. Anna was a former EC member and volunteer who at the time of appointment was already carrying out duties for CHA on a voluntary basis. The main purpose of the appointment of an OM is the management of the EU-funded Red Wolf project, which aims to pilot a PV storage and smart meter pilot project in CHA homes. but the OM is now also responsible for housing management, rents and rent accounting and publicity. Given the growing number of tenancies that CHA is responsible for, Anna's contribution to date has been vital. Development. At the end of 2018, we owned 4 properties and had 1 under lease. In the following year, we purchased 3 more properties for a total of 7 properties owned, with a loan from the AIB Bank. Significant initial repairs were carried out during the year to most properties, as well as periodic inspections, repairs and improvements. This year, a further 5 properties have been bought with funding from the Housing Finance Agency. The purchase of 8 more properties with HFA finance is underway. A further loan has been agreed with AIB for the purchase of 7 more homes, and negotiations are underway with Bank of Ireland for loan funding for the purchase of a further 11 homes. Development Matters is currently the responsibility of Jose Espina, Secretary of CHA. From this year, Rory Kay and new board member takes over responsibility for works, major repairs and maintenance. Finance and audit. Accounts for the period were audited by Sean Toomey of Collins, Cronin Toomey Accountants in Shannon. Katrina Courtney resigned as treasurer and board member at the end of the year, but continues as Co-op T. Deepa, currently a Co-op T and executive committee candidate, has agreed to present the accounts. The accounts for the year in question are positive and show growing assets and reserves, and will be presented and explained at the AGM. The accounts have been submitted to the CRO, the Housing Agency, and the Regulatory of Charities. The Executive Committee and Board would like to express their gratitude and admiration for Katrina for her hard and effective work for CHA over the past year, particularly in supporting our energy efficiency and renewable energy plans and achievements. Publicity, networking and affiliation. CHA organised 1 promotional event in Carbery to publicise its energy activities and to promote the Better Energy Warmer Homes programme. This event was funded by RMARC. During this year, CHA is a member of the Secretariat of the Cork County Council Public Participation Network, PPN, and attended several meetings of the County Housing Strategic Policy Committee. We are members of the Irish Council for Social Housing, the Cities and Regions of the Social Economy Network, and the REAP Renewable Energy Partnership. We attended the launch of the Red Wolf project in Lille, France, and partner meetings in Sligo and Saarbrücken, Germany, as well as monthly teleconferences. The operations manager has produced a new website for CHA, and Deepa has produced a promotional video that has had over 3,000 views to date. Articles on CHA have appeared in the Irish Examiner, Southern Star, and West Cork People, as well as European Project newsletters.
Thank you very much,
Treasurer's
Steve.
report. Okay.
Hi, next, please. Hi, so to begin, I suppose my name is Deirdre Power and I took over, I'm acting treasurer after taking over from Katrina Courtney this year. So to start briefly, this is just a recap of the compliance with the Housing Agency's financial Tier 2 requirements. So Carbery Housing is Tier 2. So we have completed a lot of these and discussed them at the Risk Assets Subcommittee. These include an annual report, the maintenance of a risk register, the separate sinking account, and a separate repairs and maintenance fund, which we've now agreed on. Next slide, please. So the financial year we're presenting is 2018-2019. So these are just some key financial activities. So there's purchase of 3 houses. The operations manager was employed, setting up of a SEC, and we also did financial projections 5 years as asked by the Housing Agency. Next slide, please. So these are just going through the accounts. So this is the profit and loss for the year 2018-2019. To summarize, the rental income has increased significantly. This is due to the purchase of 3 houses, but our operating expenses have only increased slightly. So as you can see there, that's quite a healthy looking balance. Next slide, please. So these are the operating expenses, the day-to-day expenses of Carbery housing. Rent payable is the rent we pay to owners of the private properties that we leased. We used to lease 2 at that time. Now it's down to 1. The sundry expenses are funds that Carbery had spent on the European project Red Wolf. They're just putting that at the moment as we didn't have a heading for EU projects. Next slide, please. So cash flow, the cash flow levels is similar at year end despite more houses and more loans. So this is a positive sign. The surplus for the financial year is taking the 34,000 from the profit and loss shown previously. And this adjustment for finance costs, current mortgages and loans. So next slide, please. And this is the balance sheet summary. So you can see that there is the purchase of 3 homes in 2018-2019. So that is a note number 6. In note number 8, that shows that the service charge is due. So we had about €400. We had tenants who hadn't paid back their rent by the end of that month, and prepayments break up the balance of that amount. So what that means is that at that time, we didn't have a fixed date for rent to be paid. Now that is at a fixed date, so at that, it'll be a bit more clearer. And then lastly, sorry, so the creditor, okay. And this is just, sorry, creditors falling due after 1 year. This is, if you can go to income and expenditure, it's fine, sorry. So this is just a recap of the profit and loss, or the income and expenditure for the year. So as you can see, the surplus and deficit at the end is probably the most important number there, the 34,000 and the percentage there. So it shows the difference from the year before to the year ending 2019. Next slide, please. So this is the year previous, the year that we're showing, just to give a comparison. So we increased in 3 properties. Since then, we've increased with 4 more. Operating expenses slightly increased in the year 2018-2019, but there was a huge growth in income. Cash flow levels were similar, so that's a good sign. And repair and maintenance fund set up. You can see there was increase from net assets from the year 2017-2018 to the year that is shown 2018-2019. Next slide, please. And this is just a brief overview how we are currently. So as discussed by David previously, there's a drop in fundraising income due to COVID. There is a small drop in rental income as some of our tenants are on COVID payments, but this was discussed at our recent risk asset subcommittee meeting, and our ops manager is dealing with this at the moment. And our income and expenditure will have increased due to more properties being bought. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Right. Hello, I'm Jose Espina again. Could I just start in connection with these our accountant, Sean Toomey, will be joining us at 7:30, that is in about 13 minutes time, in order to answer any questions that you might have in connection with the accounts. So please, at 7:30, whoever's speaking, and it looks like it's going to be me, we'll pause and see if Sean actually has joined us. And if he has, then we will go back to the accounts and the opportunity for EC members and observers to ask any questions they might have. on the audited accounts for this financial year. In the meantime, I'll begin my secretary's report. Could we have the first? I decided with this report what might be best is to look at the more general picture. We look at the fact, and we don't really get a good picture of where we are. Now, my own feeling is that we are at a crossroads. We are very much at a crossroads. We have been a small volunteer association struggling to operate, to survive, essentially. And now we are a property owning company with 12 properties in ownership and potentially 27 more ownership properties being processed. And this is increasing the pressure on us, increasing the responsibilities, increasing the possibilities as well, but only if we can live up to the requirements. Now, I see notice that our accountant, Sean Toomey, has just joined, so I'm going to interrupt my presentation and welcome Sean. Hello, Sean, if you can hear me. Has he joined yet? I can't see him. Okay.
He's disconnecting.
Right. I was going to stop before proceeding with the report to give him a chance.
He's just about to.
Okay. Good evening, Sean. Can you hear us? Sean? Hello?
I'd say go ahead.
Okay, can you go back then to the slide, because you've advanced a couple of slides there that I haven't had a chance to address. Right, so really the main issues that we now, and I mean negotiate in the sense that a boat negotiates round obstacles, are these that are put on the board. There's about 8. And just to summarize, we have to consolidate the board of management and its procedures because they are the basis of the work that we're doing. We've been able to work in a slightly informal basis previously. That is not going to work. We need to be able to implement effectively the work that's been set out for us. That is the conveyancing, repair, housing management, financial work, and we need to comply with government regulations of different sorts that are coming forward and becoming more statutory and more based on law. We need to continue developing, and therefore we need to continue securing and managing loan funding, rents that we collect, and we need to be able to identify and secure grant funding. We're also looking to not just develop sustainable housing, so we need to use this funding to be clear as to how we achieve sustainability with good design, with energy efficiency, with renewable energy integration in these homes. We need to be able, once these houses are developed, to manage them and to engage tenants effectively. And we need to be able to deal adequately and rapidly with repairs when they're needed and maintenance when it's needed to the satisfaction of tenants. We need to gain the support, trust, and recognition from tenants, from the public, and from stakeholders, both private and public. Now, having summarized that, I'd like to check if Sean is online now. Sean, can you hear us?
I think he must have had some problem because he seems to not be on the call anymore.
Okay, we'll have to continue then. Can you go on then, Anna, to the next slide? The board now, the functioning of the board, the selection of the board is essential. It's the legal basis of our association. We're a company limited by guarantee. We're in receipt of public funds, and therefore we need a board from 5 to 12 persons who should be committed, informed, and fully participating. We also need to identify co-optees, that is, persons who are not necessarily board members, but can attend board meetings and provide additional skills. We need to ensure that the key roles of chairman, treasurer, and secretary, in particular, are being effectively filled, and the persons filling where functions required of them. We need to know, study, and comply with the regulatory requirements set out for us, and if we can't comply with them because of lack of resources, explain very clearly why we can't comply to them, and explain what we are doing to ensure that the objectives of the regulations are still being met. We need to agree robust policies and procedures in order to be transparent as to the work that we're carrying out. We need to be aware of risk, identify risk, have a risk strategy, register risk, and have meetings of the risk assessment subcommittee, which is a housing agency requirement. We need to have an understanding of accounts, management accounts, and financial feasibilities. The board needs to understand the accounts in order to reassure both the and the lenders that they are in control of the use of the funding. Can we go on to the next one, please? Complying with regulations. Now, increasingly, housing associations, being private non-profit bodies in receipt of government funding, are being subject by the Irish government. In our case, it's by particularly by the housing agency. And the housing agency has set out 4 main documents up to now that are the regulation code, the finance standards, the governance standards, and the performance standard. And these 4 documents specify in detail what approved housing bodies are supposed, the standards that they're in all those areas. Now, again, as I say, because of our size and resources, we might not be able to meet all those standards, but we have to ensure that the underlying objectives of the standards are being met through our practices. So again, that's a principal function of the board, and it will also be a function of the risk assessment subcommittee that will monitor these regulations and these standards for the board. There's also the charities regulatory body, because we're a registered charity. And of course, there's the CRO, the company's registration office, because we're a company. So it's not insignificant amount of regulatory requirements that we have to keep on top of. Now that will be primarily my responsibility to inform the board of their existence, but it'll be the board's responsibility to inform themselves of the requirements of the standards and of the committee to make sure that they're implemented. Can we go on to the next one? Securing of loan, rent and grant finance. The work that we do is based on being able to secure funding. The way that we provide housing or keep people housed is through being funding and buy property or lease property. So without being able to secure funding, we would not have much of a function. We would be a pressure group, and we want to be more than a pressure group. So we need access to funding. That means, firstly and foremost, we meeting the regulation requirements of the housing agency, but also meeting the requirements of other funding bodies like the Housing Finance Agency that will give us access to public loan finance and has given us access to public loan finance, although we're not registered with them yet. And also private banks like AIB, Bank of Ireland. Now, at the moment, we're starting to experience difficulties with loan finance, mainly because of the difficulties involved in the mortgages to rent. Missed 2 deadlines for taking up loans. That seems to be the main thing, that actually buying the properties takes longer than the banks are prepared to give us. So we've had some problems in terms of loan approvals reaching deadlines before we have a chance to take them up, and we have to renegotiate them, which is not always possible. At the moment, we're concentrating on our development program for mortgages to rent of 40 homes. We've more or less exhausted all our loan funding sources, Housing Finance Agency and AIB, and we're now discussing finance with the Bank of Ireland. But again, they're only prepared to loan relatively small amounts, which will allow us to complete the program of 40 homes, but might not allow us to go a lot further unless we can both our like our credibility and our regulatory standing through things like achieving the 30-year financial projection, achieving full registration with the Housing Finance Agency. We also put other possible sources of loan finance, including finance from Europe, from European banks, from European financial institutions, which other associations are doing, in order to allow us to go beyond the limited funding that we have on offer from Irish financial institutions. We also want to look at the capital assistance scheme. Now, the capital assistance scheme is a fully subsidized grant finance for housing program, but it's only available for special needs projects with the support of the council. We have been and are a general needs association. We've never tackled special needs, but it has been suggested by our board at different strategy meetings that we should look at special needs groups like elderly persons, perhaps single parents, and so on. So we will be looking at that. And obviously, grant funding from other sources would be very welcome. We've managed to secure some funding from European projects, but we also want to look at other sources, national sources like dormant funds and so on. At the moment, we've been spending, we spent a lot of work making grant applications without too much success. But again, the more that we actually do, the more credibility that we actually have to be able to get funding. Next slide, please. Developing sustainable. Now, at the moment, our program is the mortgages to rent. We buy properties where residents are unable to pay their mortgages, and we keep the residents housed as social tenants, paying a council equivalent rent. We have 12 properties at the moment. We're purchasing another 28. We hope to have 40 units probably by 2021. And that's our current program that we are working on at the moment. We're also working on European projects and nationally funded projects to improve the energy efficiency of homes as we buy them. We have some funding from Interreg, Northwest Europe, not NEW, but NWE, for the installation of solar panels, storage and smart meters, and I will talk more about that. And we're looking at a couple of projects for Horizon 2020 funding for improving energy efficiency in homes through energy behavior and energy measurement. We've also been successful in securing some SEAI, Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland funding to retrofit a couple of our houses to quite a high standard, a B2 standard, through the Better Energy Communities program. And we have helped about 5 households to enter the Better Energy Warmer Homes program that provides retrofitting for persons in receipt of benefit. Our board, however, has expressed an interest at the strategy meetings to look at other new options, possibly new build, sustainable new build, self-build and co-housing. These are all great aspirations within the context of sustainability and eco-housing, but obviously we need to consolidate our position with the successful development of the schemes that we have at the moment. In order to take on these new options, we would need to achieve a higher level of support and greater input, both from our board and from officers and consultants, in order to be able to achieve this diversification. We'd also need to gain additional support from councils and other funders for the necessary land, properties, finance to put into practice these new and innovative proposals. Next slide. In terms of management, and I will explain to you what we're actually doing, but obviously the nitty-gritty work of management we are doing and we're improving. We have a very good rent collection record. It's almost 100% at the moment. We have had a few cases of arrears, which we've dealt with quickly, and we have lowered rents for COVID-related situations, but we're on top of it. We've got new rent management software that's helping that. We're providing initial engagement and training for new tenants when we acquire the houses and dealing with management issues, collecting rents, rent arrears. We're also keeping a careful watch on fuel poverty. We've actually done an analysis of fuel poverty with UCC in our, of fuel poverty in our residents, and we are looking for activities such as the Horizon 2020 projects, such as the retrofits that we've managed to secure in order to address that fuel poverty with the objective of eliminating fuel poverty in Carbery housing homes. The work on energy and on management and engagement is now covered by our operations manager, Anna, with support of the board. Next slide. Maintenance and repairs. Now, the properties that we're buying are all existing properties. Some have been perhaps inadequately maintained for quite a while. They need repair almost immediately, and they need ongoing repair because they're old properties. We can't afford to do everything that is needed all at once, and so we are developing a repair program. And we're also dealing with day-to-day maintenance. And we are identifying contractors in order to do this, securing their details, ensuring that they're going to do a good job there. So we carry out initial repairs, and then we respond to day-to-day and emergency maintenance needs. And then we are also developing a sinking fund to carry out major repairs as they become necessary, and they do become necessary because boilers give out and roofs need replacing, and occasionally you've got other problems like blocked drains and so on. So we are working on the development of a sinking fund by putting away 500 euros at the moment per property per year in order to build this fund up. As I said, we've been carrying out, with the help of partners like NC Insulation, work on energy efficiency, and with European project funding to integrate renewable energy. Increasingly, maintenance and repair work has been taken on by our new Works and Repairs Officer, Rory Kay, who will explain a bit more in a minute, who at the moment is working in a voluntary capacity. Indeed, I'd say about at least half of the work that we're doing is still being done on a voluntary basis at the moment, given the number of resources, but we're fortunate to have a very committed board that is willing to actually put in that work. Next one, please. Support and recognition from stakeholders. Now, I suppose I'd like to encourage the board, the future board, to take on the role of ambassadors for Carbery Housing. We need to gain support. We need to gain respect. We need to gain trust from stakeholders and community to do the work that we're doing. We need to gain the trust and support of our tenants, primarily. We need to ensure that we build partnerships with key stakeholders, the housing agency, the housing finance agency, the banks, the local authorities, and the European bodies. And I'd say at this point that I noticed that Sorka Edwards from Housing Europe has joined the meeting. Welcome, Sorka. It's glad to have your presence here. And we need to really create, maintain, and disseminate a positive public image. And we need to keep an ongoing dialogue with our stakeholders to show that we're serious, that we're in business, that we're not going anywhere, and that we're determined to make this work. We need to explore new partnerships, new opportunities for collaboration to extend the value and the reach of our work. I think that that's all. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jose. My name's Anna. I'm the operations manager. Welcome, everybody. So I will be brief. So I was appointed in November of last year, initially for 1 day a week, and my time is split between managing the Red Wolf project, which Jose mentioned earlier, which is looking at putting solar panels and storage into some of our homes. My salary is largely funded by the project. And in addition to this, I also undertake the basic day-to-day duties of managing the houses, so keeping track of tenancies, rents and arrears, as well as a bit of work helping to organise repairs and organising energy efficiency measures. So this year in July, my hours increased from 1 day to 2 days a week when the further 7 houses were purchased, because basically the amount of work doubled. So at the same time as this happened, we made a decision to subscribe to an online housing management system called Affinity. And this is a cloud-based platform that is specifically designed for Irish housing associations, which is really, really helpful because it's got a lot of the kind of requirements built into it. So it knows what the rent setting policies of different councils are. So it's really easy to do rent calculations. It's really helpful for monitoring and recording day-to-day activities. And it just means that as a part-timer, I can just get a lot more done in the time that I have available. So, and they have excellent technical support as well, which is very helpful. So it's been a real help with our growth to have access to that system. And then in terms of the energy efficiency initiatives, so we have, as Jose said, we've managed to sort of help some of our tenants get into the Better Energy Warmer Home scheme, which is a scheme that's run by the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, which offers free retrofitting for households in receipt of certain welfare payments. We've managed to get 2 houses that are already having work that are definitely going to have work carried out on them. We've identified 4 more households that are eligible, so we'll be putting them forward. We're also involved with the Better Energy Community Scheme in partnership with Northside Community Enterprises insulation arm of the business. and SE Systems, who do the actual installing. And we've got 2 houses that are already being retrofitted currently. And then finally, Red Wolf, which is the project that I mentioned before. And we're hoping to have 4 of our homes fitted with solar panels, battery storage and storage heaters. And it's a very cutting edge system, which should bring big benefits to our tenants, but also it's part of a groundbreaking research project which will help to prove the value of these technologies for the future. So I think that is pretty much my presentation done. Jose, I've noticed that Sean seems to have joined the meeting. Oh, I thought he had, but he doesn't seem to be there anymore. Oh.
Okay.
Just check.
Do you want to let Sean in, Anna, or shall I go on with the repairs and maintenance?
He's disappeared again.
Okay.
Every time I let him in, he seems to drop out of the call. So I would say just go ahead. Yeah.
I'll just crack on. If you need to cut me off, if he comes back, just go ahead.
Grand, thanks.
Okay, so yeah, I'm Rory Kay. I've recently joined the board of directors of Carbery, and I've been helping out with kind of repairs and maintenance. I'll go through this fairly quickly. I think some of the points have probably been covered already. So yeah, we'll go through as quickly as we can. Next slide, please. So yeah, we own or lease 13 properties at the moment, and I think as Jose pointed out earlier, these are not new properties, so they all kind of need some form of maintenance. We've recently put into place a repairs policy so that we can ensure that tenants can enjoy their homes and that their repairs are dealt with in a professional manner. The kind of maintenance that we are dealing with is kind of broken down into 4 categories really. Initial works, planned maintenance, emergency repairs and cyclical maintenance. So just very quickly to explain what those are. Initial works are identified when we do our pre-purchase surveys. They're done by an external surveyor. And when we borrow money to purchase properties, there's amounts included to cover that. Then we have our kind of planned maintenance, which is kind of non-essential repairs and maintenance that's covered from the sinking fund that we mentioned earlier. And that could include things like replacing kitchens and bathrooms, windows, roofs. Then we also have emergency repairs as and when needed, things like block drains, electrical faults, leaking pipes, and generally come out of the current account. And then there's cyclical maintenance, which is things we know happen on a certain time scale, like annual boiler services. Next slide, please. So yeah, I think as mentioned already, we have a sinking fund to cover kind of major repairs. At the moment, that's 500 per property, but we are kind of reassessing how that's done to maybe move to a percentage figure. At the moment, we're spending similar amount, maybe a little bit less on kind of just emergency repairs that come up throughout the year. In terms of actually doing the work, we've got a panel of kind of contractors that we work with. Any kind of major projects are kind of competitively tendered to at least 3 people. We also have a kind of contractors declaration and pre-qualification questionnaire that just ensures everyone that we're working with has the correct insurances, following the correct health and safety requirements, just how dealing with the tenants in the correct way. At the moment, we're doing the initial works on 5 properties that we recently purchased. We're also kind of carrying out some major works on 3 other properties that need work on the roofs and the floor. And then the Affinity software that Anna mentioned a second ago, we're also now starting to use that to manage our planned maintenance. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.
No sign of Sean Toomey, I suppose.
No, I'm afraid not. He seems to be having technical problems.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. Well, if anybody wanted to ask any detailed question on the accounts, could I please ask you to put them into an email, and we will respond to you as soon as possible. It's just not been possible for our auditor to actually connect to this meeting, I'm afraid to say. Now I'm not sure what's happened there. Am I still on the meeting?
Yes, you are. I just stopped sharing the screen because I thought it would be better if we could see people, but for some reason we can't.
Okay, that's fine. Right, so we are now at the stage of the election. Now, the way that the elections work at Carbery Housing is that we had a board of 8 last year that was elected at the last annual general meeting. And from memory, that board was David Simmons, Ian McNinch, Alan Wiseman, Dan Boyle, Katrina Courtney, Alan Sheerans, Dermot O'Regan. I've said Katrina Courtney, myself. Have I left anybody out? Anybody? Ian McNinch. So there were 8 elected. Now, the previous year, our rules require that every year 4 board members resign. They can stand for re-election again, but they don't have to. And last year, the board members that resigned were David Simmons, Dan Boyle, Dermot O'Regan, and a 4th. Who would the 4th have been?
Maybe you? No.
Me? No, not
No,
me.
it wasn't you.
It would have been, it was actually, I've said Katrina, I've said, no, Katrina didn't resign. It was David Simmons, Dan Boyle, Dermot O'Regan, and Alan Sheerans. So that means that the other 4 are due to resign this year, and the other 4 are myself, Katrina Courtney, Ian McNinch, and Alan Wiseman. So basically, those...
We don't have Katrina or Ian here.
I know. As Katrina Courtney has already resigned, then that's 1 resignation. And the other 3 resignations are myself, Ian McNinch, and Alan Wiseman. So the 3 of us are standing for re-election. And the new members that want to stand for committee are Rory Kay, who has just made a report on works and repairs, Dee Power, who's the acting treasurer, and Tig Quill Manley. Now, I will give those members that are present the possibility of briefly introducing themselves, just saying hello. So I'd ask the existing members, Alan Wiseman first, to say hello. Alan, if you're there.
Just unmuting everyone.
Okay. So.
Oh, hello, lad. Hello, everyone.
Right.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Alan. You're right. That's Alan there. Tig, Dee, and myself. Now we're missing Ian McNinch. Ian sends his apologies. He's actually traveling at the moment and unable to connect. And then Tig, would you like to say hello?
Hello, how are you all doing? If there's anyone watching on Facebook, basically, I have a big passion for housing mutuals and addressing the issues of our time. I'm the author of the book Housing Cooperatives: An Examination of Their Incredible of I might leave it at that. I don't know.
That's right. Welcome, Mike. Right. So I think you've met all 6 with the exception of Ian McNinch. Now, Anna, do you have a record of who seconded?
I think everybody knows who they're seconding, so I think we can just go ahead.
Okay, so all the nominations are seconded. So as 6 additional committee members on top of the 4 that we already have, makes 10, which is under the number of 12, which is our limit. I would like to propose that all nominees be voted on in block. So could I please ask you all to vote for the 6 nominees, either for, against, or abstentions?
How do we do that?
The chat box would be the easiest way to do it.
Okay.
Or we could go one by one, if you like, and each one could have a verbal vote. All you have to say is in favor, against, or abstention. So if I could ask one by one, Anna, in favor, against, or abstention?
In favor.
Dee.
In favor.
Rory.
In favor.
Tig.
In favor.
Dan.
In favor.
Dave.
In favor.
Now, Imelda, you're not actually a member, but you're welcome to have a say. And then Alan. Alan Wiseman, in favor or? Alan?
Yeah, in favor. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
My internet has been unstable.
Okay, that's great. So I think the committee is, those 6 committee members are elected unanimously. Welcome to the board. I'd say we have a hand of work on our hands, really. It's going to be a challenging year, but one with possibly great rewards. And thank you and welcome everybody to the board of Carbery Housing Association. I'll be in touch with you to fill in the necessary paperwork to put your names forward to the company's registration office as board members tomorrow. Now, that's the end of the business of the annual general meeting. There's a possibility for anybody to raise any other points that you might wish to raise. Initiate any other. If I could just clarify a couple of things. The next stage now will be, I will send the doodle out to convene a meeting, the first meeting of the executive committee, inviting you all to a Zoom-based executive committee meeting as soon as possible, really. That meeting will elect the officers of the association, that is chairman, secretary, and treasurer, plus any other officer posts that might be indicated, such as perhaps works and repair, or it could be a post in future, and the membership secretary, of course. Now, we will also, at that meeting, have to decide on the membership of the risk assessment subcommittee. We are now really at a stage where the housing agency has indicated very clearly that we must have a risk assessment subcommittee and it must meet. We have already had one meeting this year and we need to really formalize that, agree the membership, agree the terms of reference, and get some of the preliminary risk assessment and procedures works done. And then, of course, as you all know, we will have our second meeting with the regulatory of the housing agency on September the 21st, which will be a very important meeting in that the housing agency next year will become a statutory body and will have statutory powers. It won't be any longer a question of voluntary affiliation. They will have statutory powers to support or remove support from our association. So if there are no other questions, points, issues, I'd like to thank everybody. And as it says, please join. Those of you who are not members, and I know there's at least one of you that isn't a member, please let us have your membership form, and it will be considered at the next executive, and to join our mailing list. We intend to keep the regular newsletter that Anna is promoting going, and email us with your thoughts and views and ideas as well. We're always open to ideas. We will be having other sessions, both introductory sessions for new members and maybe other activities as the year goes by. Right, if there isn't anything else, I'd like to say goodbye to everybody. Right, thanks for attending, and we'll be in touch. And we look forward to a year of working with you.
Bye, everyone.
See you.
Good night. Thank you.